On December 17, 1967, Australian Prime Minister Harold Holt vanished without a trace while swimming off the coast of Cheviot Beach. The official story was that Holt had tragically drowned, overcome by the powerful currents of the ocean. But the legend of his disappearance is far darker and more mysterious than any simple drowning. For years, whispers circulated that Holt's disappearance was no accident. Some claimed that the currents, though treacherous, were not strong enough to pull a skilled swimmer like Holt under. Others suggested a far more sinister explanation. One of the most chilling theories, one that still lingers in the minds of many, was that Holt had been taken by a Chinese submarine. The idea was that Holt, involved in covert dealings and possibly acting as a spy, had been captured and whisked away to an uncertain fate beneath the waves. Those who subscribe to this theory believe that Holt's disappearance was part of a grander conspiracy, a secret operation that went unnoticed by the world. They argue that his sudden vanishing was too well timed, too deliberate. Some even claim that he had been seen in China in the years following his supposed death. But the ocean is a vast, unforgiving place, and the truth of Harold Holt's disappearance remains elusive. For decades, the sea has kept its secrets, and the only certainty is that Holt, a man once at the helm of a nation, simply vanished. Some say his spirit still wanders the dark depths of Cheviot Beach, waiting for someone to uncover the truth, if it's even still possible to do so. In the still, silent nights of Fresno, California, an unsettling legend stalks the imagination of locals, the Fresno night crawlers. First captured on CCTV footage, these strange, otherworldly creatures have haunted the town's darkened streets, their appearance as bizarre as it is terrifying. Described as white, elongated beings with impossibly long legs and tiny featureless torsos, they move with an eerie, almost hypnotic gait, as if gliding rather than walking. To many, they resemble nothing more than disembodied, ghostly pairs of trousers, yet their unsettling presence is anything but laughable. The first sighting came from a homeowner who, curious about strange noises outside, reviewed their security footage. What they saw left them speechless. Two pale figures emerging from the shadows, their legs stretched unnaturally tall, each step slow and deliberate, almost as if they were floating. The smaller of the two trailed behind, its movement unnervingly synchronized with the larger one. As they vanished into the night, the homeowner was left with a chilling realization. Whatever these beings were, they were not human. The footage quickly spread, drawing the attention of cryptid enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Some claimed the night crawlers were extraterrestrial visitors, their strange forms adapted to a planet with gravity unlike Earth's. Others whispered that they were spirits, ancient guardians tied to the land, warning of some impending doom. Still, others feared they were harbingers of something far darker, beings from another dimension, crossing into our world for reasons unknown. The sightings didn't stop. Reports emerged of people spotting the night crawlers in nearby woods, gliding silently among the trees, their spindly forms illuminated by the pale light of the moon. Hikers described the forest growing unnaturally quiet, the air thick with unease, as if the creatures were aware of their presence and watching from just out of sight. Some who encountered them spoke of an overwhelming dread, a primal fear that gripped their hearts and left them paralysed. Locals now warn against wandering too far into the dark Fresno woods, especially at night. Those who've ventured too close to where the night crawlers have been seen report strange phenomena, unexplainable static on devices, sudden cold spots, and faint whispering sounds that seem to follow them home. To this day, no one knows what the Fresno night crawlers are or what they want. Skeptics dismiss them as clever hoaxes or optical illusions, but those who've seen the footage or encountered them firsthand tell a different story. They believe the night crawlers are watching, observing humanity with motives shrouded in mystery. Their slow, silent steps are warning to stay away. The Fresno night crawlers remain one of the most bizarre and chilling cryptid tales in modern folklore, a reminder that some things move through the shadows of our world, unnoticed until they choose to reveal themselves, leaving nothing but fear in their wake. In the shadowy winters of New England, the tale of Fair Charlotte is whispered among families, a haunting reminder of vanity and foolish pride. On a bone-chilling New Year's Eve, Charlotte, a young girl renowned for her beauty, was preparing to attend a grand winter ball. She chose a dress of delicate silk, the latest fashion, a gown that shimmered in the candlelight and caught every admiring eye. Her mother urged her to wrap up in thick furs to ward off the bitter cold, but Charlotte refused, scoffing at the idea of covering her beautiful dress with heavy, unsightly coats. As the sleigh arrived to carry her to the ball, the air was sharp and biting, the night blanketed in snow and silence. Her friends, bundled in layers, shivered as they watched her climb into the sleigh, her bare shoulders exposed to the icy wind. As the sleigh bells jingled and they set off into the darkness, the snow began to fall heavily, swirling in the air like ghostly fingers. The ride was long, and the cold crept in like a silent predator. Charlotte, proud and unyielding, ignored the numbness spreading through her limbs, her mind fixed only on her image as she arrived at the ball. Her friends tried to coax her into covering herself with a spare coat, but she laughed them off, her words carried away by the howling wind. "I want them to see me just as I am," she had said, her eyes gleaming with pride. By the time they arrived at the ball, the laughter had ceased, and Charlotte was silent, her head tilted to one side, her face frozen in an eerie, unchanging expression. Her friends shook her, called her name, but Charlotte did not respond. Her skin was cold, her lips blue. She had frozen to death on the journey, her beauty preserved in a ghostly, terrible stillness. News of Charlotte's fate spread quickly, and her story became a cautionary tale across New England. Mothers warned their daughters of Fair Charlotte, the girl who had been so consumed by vanity that she sacrificed her life for appearance's sake. Some even claimed that her spirit could be seen on dark, snowy nights, riding in an empty sleigh, her face pale and expressionless, eyes staring blankly into the night, as if forever searching for a warmth that would never return. Today, her story lingers, a chilling reminder to those who hear it. They say if you listen closely on a winter's night, you can hear the faint jingle of sleigh bells and the haunting whisper of a girl's laugh carried on the wind, growing softer until it vanishes into the cold. The tale of Fair Charlotte endures as a ghostly warning, a beautiful face, frozen forever in the cruel grasp of vanity and the merciless winter's chill. Let's drift into the eerie whispers of Eastern Europe, where a mysterious black car roamed the streets, haunting, silent, and deadly. Welcome to the legend of the Black Volga. The Black Volga is an urban legend that circulated in Eastern Europe, especially during the 1960s and 1970s. It centers around a mysterious black Volga limousine that was allegedly used to abduct people, particularly children. According to the legend, the car would appear suddenly on quiet streets, driven by unknown figures, often described as government agents, priests, or even supernatural beings like vampires or the devil himself. The rumours varied from region to region, but one constant remained. Anyone who saw the Black Volga or came too close to it would disappear without a trace. In some versions, the victims were taken for organ harvesting, while others claimed they were used in bizarre occult rituals. Children were the most common targets, vanishing after being approached by the ominous vehicle, leading to widespread fear among parents. Some believed the kidnappings were part of a larger government conspiracy, while others suspected that foreign powers or even secret societies were behind the abductions. The vehicle itself, typically a black Volga, Gazi 21 or Gazi 24, became synonymous with fear. The dark windows, the eerie silence as it moved, and the inability to identify the driver or passengers added to the sense of dread. In some accounts, the Volga had red curtains, horns, or other demonic features. The myth grew as people claimed to see the car speeding through the neighbourhoods or lurking near schools and playgrounds. Although there is no substantial evidence to support these claims, the Black Volga legend played into the anxieties of the time, when people lived under oppressive regimes and feared the unknown. The cold, controlling nature of Soviet rule, combined with stories of disappearances, fueled paranoia. The legend of the Black Volga became a way to explain the unexplainable. A person goes missing, and the car was blamed. Over time, the story evolved and spread beyond Eastern Europe, becoming part of a broader tapestry of urban legends. Though the panic surrounding the Black Volga has faded, it remains a chilling reminder of how fear can drive communities to believe in the darkest of tales. In the late 1970s, a quiet council house at 284 Green Street in Enfield, London, became the centre of one of England's most chilling supernatural tales, the Enfield Poltergeist. Between 1977 and 1979, the Hodgson family, especially two young sisters, Janet and Margaret, found themselves at the mercy of a malevolent force lurking within their home. What began as strange noises soon spiralled into a full-blown haunting that would terrify all who witnessed it. The haunting started subtly, objects shifting, knocking sounds echoing through the night. But as days passed, the activity grew more violent. Furniture slid across rooms by unseen hands, toys flew through the air, and chilling voices filled the house. At the heart of it all was Janet, just 11 years old, who appeared to be the poltergeist's primary target. She would often fall into violent trances, speaking in a guttural voice that was far from her own, claiming to be an old man who had died in the house. Witnesses, including police officers and paranormal investigators, were horrified as they saw objects move and heard disembodied voices with their own eyes and ears. One officer reported seeing a heavy chair slide across the floor, while investigators observed Janet levitating and being thrown from her bed as if lifted by invisible hands. The poltergeist's presence was relentless, bringing a a sense of dread and terror to everyone involved. Attempts to communicate with the spirit revealed its bitter rage and violent intent. It would mock the family, taunt the investigators, and even threaten anyone who dared to interfere. Those who entered the house often felt an overwhelming coldness, a suffocating presence pressing down on them. The Enfield poltergeist remains a mystery, dividing skeptics and believers alike. Some claim it was a hoax, a trick played by young girls seeking attention, but others insist the terror was real, that the house on Green Street was truly haunted by a force beyond this world. Even today, the Enfield poltergeist stands as one of the most disturbing cases of supernatural activity, a dark chapter in London's history that lingers in the shadows, a warning that some spirits do not rest easily. Let's unwind with a chilling tale. The choking Doberman, a mysterious intruder, a loyal pet, and a terrifying discovery will take you into the shadows. Relax and let the story begin. On a cold, dark night, a woman returned home after a long day. Her house was eerily silent, except for the faint sound of her Doberman whimpering. Startled, she rushed to find him slumped on the living room floor, struggling for air. The dog's body convulsed as it tried to cough up whatever was lodged in its throat. Panicked, the woman knelt beside her beloved pet, trying to comfort him. His choking worsened, and she knew she had to act fast. Without hesitation, she scooped up the Doberman and sped to the nearest vet clinic, her heart pounding as her dog gasped for air in the back seat. Every passing moment felt like an eternity. When they arrived, the vet wasted no time. They sedated the dog and began to investigate the source of the obstruction. What they found made the vet's face go pale. He slowly pulled out a severed human finger from the Doberman's throat. The woman stood frozen in shock as the vet explained what had caused her dog's distress. A chilling sense of dread crept over her. Whose finger was it? The vet urged her to call the police immediately. Shaking, she dialed 911 and told the dispatcher what had happened. The operator's voice, initially calm, quickly grew tense. "Get out of the house, Mom. Now." Confused and terrified, the woman grabbed her keys and ran outside, just as the police arrived. They searched the house, checking every room, every shadowy corner. In the master bedroom, they found him. A man hiding under the bed, bleeding profusely from his hand. His face twisted in agony, and his eyes were wide with panic. The police quickly apprehended him. It became clear that the intruder had broken into the house while the woman was away, but her Doberman had caught him in the act, biting off his finger as he fought back. The woman stood outside, staring at the house that had once felt like a sanctuary. The image of her brave dog choking on that grotesque finger replayed in her mind. Her blood running cold. What if the dog hadn't intervened? What if she had come home earlier? Those questions lingered, gnawing at her sanity, long after the intruder was taken away. The dog, her loyal protector, had saved her life, but at a horrifying cost. In the shadowed corridors of the uncanny, where art meets the supernatural, there echoes the unsettling legend of the crying boy. This painting, a mass-produced print by the Italian artist known both as Giovanni Bragolin and Bruno Amadio, has stirred whispers of a curse since it first appeared in the 1950s. The portrait, depicting the tear-streaked face of a young boy with deep, sorrowful eyes, became a common fixture in homes across Europe, initially cherished for its poignant depiction of innocence and grief. Yet, beneath the surface of this seemingly benign artwork, darker forces seemed to lurk. The legend began to take shape in the 1980s, when a series of mysterious fires devastated numerous homes throughout England. Amidst the charred ruins, firefighters made a chilling discovery. While the flames consumed almost everything in their path, the prints of the crying boy survived unscathed. In one house after another, the painting was found amongst the ashes, its glass cover often the only thing left intact. These bizarre occurrences were first reported in a 1985 article in the Sun newspaper, which chronicled the strange phenomenon, igniting widespread fear and superstition. The tale grew more sinister with each telling. It was said that the boy in the painting was a foundling, taken in by Amadio, who discovered the child weeping beside the smouldering ruins of a building that had claimed his parents. Moved by his plight, Amadio captured the boy's eternal sorrow on canvas. However, dark rumours swirled that the artist had exploited the child's curse, for the boy was no ordinary orphan. Legend had it that wherever he resided, fires of unknown origin would inexplicably ignite. As the cursed painting's fame spread, so did accounts of misfortune attributed to it. Owners of the print reported inexplicable series of bad luck, with numerous testimonies of personal tragedies that befell those who displayed the painting in their homes. Some spoke of hearing the soft sobs of a child at night, the cries echoing through hallways, only to find the painting's eyes brimming with tears, as if the boy mourned not only his fate, but also that of those who gazed upon him. Frightened by these tales, many sought to rid themselves of the painting. Yet, disposing of the crying boy proved no simple task. Stories emerged of the prints being found intact at local dumps, or returning to hang on the walls they had once adorned, despite being thrown away. Others who attempted to burn the painting found that it resisted the flames, the boy's face peering out through the fire, his tears reflecting the inferno around him. Some curious souls, skeptics of the supernatural, delved into the painting's history, seeking rational explanations. They proposed that the varnish used by Amadio might have been flame retardant, a common practice among painters who wished to protect their work. Yet, no scientific explanation could fully dispel the aura of dread surrounding the image. The legend of the crying boy took on a life of its own, a modern myth that mingled fact with folklore. It became a cautionary tale about the objects we choose to bring into our homes, about the unseen energies they might carry. It warned of the grief that could spill from canvas to reality, a sorrow so profound it seemed to transcend the boundaries of art and enter the realm of the paranormal. Today, the crying boy hangs in the shadowed corners of antique shops, in online auctions, and sometimes, still, on the walls of those who either do not know its story or who defy the curse to court disaster. Whether a true bearer of misfortune or merely a subject of one of the most unsettling urban legends of the 20th century, the painting continues to fascinate and frighten, a testament to the power of art to move, to disturb, and perhaps to curse. of Dover, Massachusetts, nestled among winding roads and dense woods, a terrifying legend emerged over 2 nights in April 1977. It was here, in the dark shadows and eerie silence, that a creature known as the Dover Demon first appeared, a sight so chilling that its image still haunts those who witnessed it, and its legend has woven itself into the fabric of local lore. On the night of April 21st, 3 teenagers were driving along Farm Street when one of them, a 17-year-old named Bill Bartlett, caught sight of something unusual at the edge of his headlights. At first, he thought it was a small animal crouched along a stone wall, but as he focused, he realised this was no animal. Staring back at him was a figure unlike anything he'd ever seen. Small, barely 4 feet tall, with a large bulbous head, too big for its thin, fragile-looking body. Its skin was a strange, pale, almost chalky colour, and it had long, thin limbs that seemed unsettlingly out of proportion. The most disturbing detail, however, was its eyes. Large, glowing orange orbs that seemed to reflect back the light, piercing and unnatural, as if they were staring straight into his soul. Bartlett froze, watching as the creature clung to the rocks with an almost human grasp, its long fingers wrapping around the stones like a spider's legs. For a brief moment, the two locked eyes, and an intense wave of fear washed over him. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the creature scuttled into the woods, vanishing into the night. Shaken, Bartlett told his friends about the encounter, but it didn't end there. The very next night, another sighting occurred, this time by a 15-year-old boy named John Baxter, who was walking home along Miller Hill Road. He described seeing a similar creature standing by the trees, watching him with those same haunting eyes. Baxter tried to approach, but the figure slipped into the shadows, melting into the woods with an unnatural silence. Terrified, Baxter fled, convinced he'd encountered something otherworldly. The following night, yet another teenager, Abby Brabham, reported seeing the same creature while driving near Springdale Avenue. Her description matched the others: an eerily pale, thin figure with a head too large for its body and those unforgettably large glowing eyes. By now, the sightings had spread through the small town, sending chills through the community and sparking wild speculation. Over time, the stories evolved, with locals suggesting all kinds of explanations. Some believed it was an alien, a visitor from another world, accidentally stranded in Dover, while others were certain it was some undiscovered creature lurking in the New England woods. Paranormal enthusiasts speculated that it was a being from another dimension, slipping in and out of our reality, leaving only fleeting glimpses and unsettling memories. But for those who saw it, the Dover Demon was real, a creature they could never unsee. The sighting sparked fear, yet a morbid curiosity lingered. Some residents ventured into the woods with flashlights, hoping to catch a glimpse of the creature, but the Dover Demon never showed itself again. It had left its mark, a shadow of dread that hung over Dover's quiet streets, yet its absence only deepened the mystery. Skeptics dismissed the encounters as the result of overactive imaginations or youthful hysteria, but those who witnessed it knew the fear was real, a gut-wrenching terror that could not be explained away. To this day, the Dover Demon remains a chilling mystery, an enigma that defies explanation. Sightings have faded, but the story endures, passed down through generations as a ghostly reminder of something that walked among them, something that did not belong. The children of Dover grow up hearing the legend, warned not to wander too far into the woods at night, for fear of encountering the creature with the orange eyes. And on dark, moonless nights, some claim they still see strange shapes moving at the edge of the forest, a fleeting shadow with glowing eyes that vanish the moment you try to focus on them. visitor from another realm, or simply a trick of the dark. The Dover demon has carved its place in the dark folklore of Massachusetts, a ghostly figure forever haunting the wooded paths of Dover. Those who walk these paths feel a chill in the air, an unshakable feeling that something is watching, waiting just beyond sight, with hollow eyes and a chilling stare that pierces through the night. The Dover demon may be gone, but his legend lives on, a tale of terror and mystery, warning all who listen. Sometimes the darkness holds more than shadows, and some creatures are never meant to be seen. Hidden within the eerie expanse of Maple Hill Park in Huntsville, Alabama, lies a playground that few dare to visit after dark. Known as the Dead Children's Playground, it sits in the shadow of Maple Hill Cemetery, where countless lives were lost during the brutal Spanish flu pandemic of 1918. Many of these were children, tiny lives cut short by the merciless wave of illness that swept through the town. Their graves, small and silent, line the edges of the cemetery, just steps away from the playground, where swings now creak and echo through the night. As dusk falls, a haunting atmosphere descends upon the playground. Locals warn that the children who perished here never truly left. Strange occurrences have been reported for years. Swings move on their own, the rusted chains rattling as if gripped by invisible hands. In the sand beneath the slide, visitors find tiny footprints that appear suddenly and disappear just as mysteriously. Some who pass by in the evening hours have claimed to hear faint giggles or the distant sound of children calling out, voices carried on an unsettling breeze that seems to chill the very air around it. Witnesses describe seeing shadowy figures darting between the playground equipment, flickering in and out of sight like fading memories. A few brave souls have even claimed to catch glimpses of ghostly children, their pale forms just visible in the moonlight, with hollow, haunting eyes fixed on the swings. Others report feeling an icy touch on their shoulders or a tug at their clothing, as if tiny hands were reaching out, desperate to play just once more. Despite the renovations and new equipment, the playground remains a place haunted by sorrow and loss, as if the spirits of the past refuse to let go. It's said that the restless souls of these children are bound to this place, forever drawn to the playground. They never had the chance to truly enjoy in life. Visitors leave trinkets, small toys and flowers by the swings, hoping to soothe the spirits that linger. For those who know the tale, the Dead Children's Playground is not merely a place for children's laughter, but a portal to something darker. A reminder that some places are scarred by history, with memories and spirits that will not fade, even as time moves on. Tonight's story takes us to the mysterious legend of the Bunny Man, a figure lurking in the shadows with an axe in hand. Close your eyes, relax, and let this eerie tale drift you to sleep. The Bunny Man is an eerie urban legend that took root in Fairfax County, Virginia in 1970 and has since spread across the Washington, D.C. area. The story has been retold in many forms, but the core of the legend centres around a mysterious figure dressed in a rabbit costume, referred to as the Bunny Man, who reportedly terrorises people with an axe. The legend is said to have originated from two strange incidents. The first took place in October 1970, when a young couple parked their car near a secluded area to talk. Suddenly, a man in a bunny suit appeared out of nowhere, wielding an axe. He angrily yelled at them about trespassing on his property before smashing the car window with the axe. Fortunately, the couple was able to drive away strands of the tale claim that the Bunny Man is the ghost of an escaped mental patient who had a psychotic break and now haunts the area, seeking revenge on anyone who crosses his path. Others suggest that the Bunny Man is still alive, lurking in the woods of Virginia, waiting for the next unsuspecting victim. The most notorious version of the legend involves the Bunny Man Bridge, a secluded railway overpass near Clifton, Virginia. According to some, this bridge is where the Bunny Man is most likely to appear, especially on Halloween night. Witnesses have claimed to hear strange noises or even see the shadowy figure of the Bunny Man wielding his infamous axe. While there is no solid evidence to prove the existence of the Bunny Man, the legend has persisted for decades, fueling local folklore and unsettling the imaginations of those who dare to explore the areas where the Bunny Man is said to roam. On the crisp, dark evening of September 12th, 1952, the quiet town of Flatwoods in Braxton County, West Virginia, became the stage for one of the most terrifying encounters ever reported. The Flatwoods Monster. What began as a streak of light cutting across the sky quickly turned into a nightmare, etched into the memories of those who dared to investigate. It started innocently enough. A group of young boys playing outside saw a blazing object streak through the sky before crashing into the wooded hills nearby. Intrigued and full of curiosity, they gathered a few adults and ventured into the dark woods to locate the mysterious object. Armed with flashlights, they climbed the rugged terrain, their breath visible in the crisp night air as an unsettling stillness began to surround them. As they approached the crash site, the air grew thick with a foul, metallic stench that stung their noses and throats. The trees seemed unnaturally quiet, as if the forest itself was holding its breath. Then, in the pale beam of their flashlights, they saw it. A figure that would haunt their dreams for years to come. Standing nearly 10 feet tall, it was a towering, grotesque entity that defied explanation. Its face glowed with a sickly red light, framed by what appeared to be a hood or helmet shaped like an inverted spade. Its eyes, cold, piercing, and unblinking, stared down at them, radiating an otherworldly menace. The creature's body, if it could even be called that, was encased in metallic armor-like plating, tapering into claw-like appendages that seemed ready to strike. It emitted a low, mechanical hiss, a sound that made their skin crawl. The group stood frozen in terror, unable to move as the being hovered eerily above the ground, exuding an aura of dread that seemed to grip their very souls. Suddenly, the creature began to move, gliding toward them with an unnatural, almost mechanical precision. Panic took over, and the group fled, stumbling and screaming as they tore through the woods, desperate to escape the nightmare. When they finally burst into the safety of their homes, their faces were pale, their voices trembling as they recounted what they had seen. Word of the encounter spread quickly, and soon the Flatwoods Monster became a sensation, drawing investigators, reporters, and skeptics from across the country. Some speculated it was an alien being, perhaps the occupant of the crashed object they'd seen in the sky. Others believed it was a phantom, an omen of something dark and malevolent. Regardless of the theories, one thing was certain: those who saw it were forever changed. In the days that followed, residents reported strange phenomena: unexplained lights flickering in the night sky, animals behaving erratically, and an unshakable feeling of being watched. The foul odour lingered in the woods for weeks, as if the creature had left a piece of itself behind. Despite exhaustive searches, no trace of the monster or the supposed crash site was ever found, leaving the incident shrouded in mystery. Even now, decades later, the legend of flatwoods monster endures. Locals speak of it in hushed tones, warning visitors not to venture into the woods alone. They say that on certain nights, when the sky is clear and the stars burn bright, you can still feel its presence, watching, waiting, hidden among the trees. Whether it was an alien, a spectre, or something far darker, the flatwoods monster remains one of the most chilling and unexplained encounters in American history. A reminder that some things lurking in the dark are beyond human comprehension. Tonight we take a quiet journey into the eerie legend of the chupacabra. Let the mystery of the goatsucker guide you into a peaceful slumber as we unravel this chilling tale. In the remote shadowed corners of the Americas, whispers carry a name: the chupacabra. Born from terror and blood, this cryptid first slithered into legend on the stormy nights of Puerto Rico. Farmers would wake to a nightmare, their once lively goats drained of life, eyes glassy, throats pierced by two perfect holes. The blood was gone, as if sucked dry by some unholy predator. They say the name, chupacabra, stems from its insidious habits. Chupa, meaning to suck, and cabra, meaning goat. And so it was called the goatsucker, a beast with an insatiable thirst for blood. As dawn broke and bodies of livestock lay scattered, many wondered what kind of creature could commit such carnage. Described as reptilian or dog-like, the chupacabra is said to move with an unnatural grace, its skin scaly, cold to the touch, with glowing red eyes that burn through the night like molten embers. It creeps silently through the fields, avoiding human eyes, until it strikes, leaving nothing but empty carcasses and fear in its wake. Reports of its presence spread beyond Puerto Rico, with sightings in Mexico, South America, and even the southern United States. In each case, the telltale signs were the same: drained livestock, puncture wounds, and an eerie, lingering silence that chilled the blood of those left behind. Some claimed to see it with their own eyes, a monstrous figure crouching low to the ground, waiting for the moment to pounce. Its movements were quick, almost too fast to follow, vanishing into the darkness as quickly as it appeared. Legends tell that the chupacabra was a cursed experiment gone wrong, a mutated creature that escaped from the depths of a secret lab, its body forever twisted into something both alien and grotesque. Others believe it is something far older, a demonic force that has existed for centuries, waiting for the right moment to return and feast upon the world. To this day, people fear the shadow of the chupacabra, dreading the eerie silence that falls over their farms at night. They lock their doors and guard their animals, praying that they will not be the next victims of the creature that stalks in the dark, thirsting for blood. As long as the chupacabra remains a mystery, it will continue to haunt the imagination of those who dare to walk the lonely roads, wondering if tonight will be the night they hear the hiss of the goatsucker closing in. In the shadowy annals of New England's history, amidst tales of spectral figures and cursed lands, the story of Eunice Cole, or Goody Cole, stands out with a chilling resonance. In the small town of Brentwood, New Hampshire, her name became synonymous with witchcraft and woe, her life a testament to the dark superstitions that once gripped the heart of the 17th century. Goody Cole was an enigmatic figure, her life shrouded in misfortune and mystery. First accused of witchcraft in 1656, she became the scapegoat for every disaster that befell the town, from unexplained deaths to failing crops and dying livestock. Her neighbours' fear and suspicion branded her an outcast, a woman touched by the devil himself. The townsfolk whispered that she could be seen muttering suspecting strange brews and communing with unseen forces. Children dared each other to peek through her dimly lit windows, only to flee in terror at the sight of her shadowy form bending over a flickering flame. It was said that she cast curses with a glance and summoned storms with a wave of her gnarled hands. Her repute as a witch grew so dire that in 1673 she was accused once more. This time, the evidence was more damning, the fear more palpable. They dragged her before the court, her eyes blazing with defiance as the charges were read. Found guilty, she was sentenced to imprisonment, her final years spent in the cold, dark confines of the cell, where she was left to languish, forgotten by all but those who feared her curse. But death did not bring Goody Cole peace. The town, eager to rid itself of her malignant influence once and for all, buried her in an unmarked grave at the edge of the cemetery. They drove a stake through the heart of her plot, a grim ritual to prevent her tormented spirit from rising and haunting them. Yet this act only solidified her legend, and it was said that her spirit lingered, malevolent and vengeful. To this day, eerie occurrences in Brentwood are often whispered to be the workings of Goody Cole's restless ghost. On stormy nights, some claim to see her figure in the flashes of lightning, wandering the woods or standing by her unmarked grave, still bound by the town's collective dread. Her legend has become a chilling reminder of the power of fear and the lasting stain of injustice, her story echoing through the centuries as a spectral tale of a woman wronged, her vengeance immortalised in the whispered fears of those who remember. In the dark, frozen winter of February 1855, the people of East and South Devon awoke to a scene that would haunt them for years. As dawn broke, a trail of strange, unearthly footprints marred the fresh snow, weaving through the landscape with an unnatural precision. These prints, soon to be called the Devil's Footprints, left a mark of terror and mystery across Devon, as villagers whispered tales of the devil himself stalking their lands. The footprints were unlike anything seen before. They stretched in a single line, each print spaced with eerie regularity, each one an unmistakable hoof shape, cloven and pointed, as if made by a creature far from this world. Stranger still, the prints were measured precisely 8 inches apart, suggesting a creature that moved with unerring speed and purpose. They crossed through fields, over rivers, and even appeared on rooftops, ignoring natural obstacles as if they were nothing. No walls, hedges, or even snow-covered thatched roofs hindered the path of these prints. It was as though something had passed through Devon, defying the laws of nature and mocking human understanding. The villagers were gripped by fear. Some claimed it was a demon, or perhaps even Satan himself, paying a visit to remind them of his presence. Priests were called to bless homes, while locals huddled around fires, hoping that warmth and prayer might keep the dark force at bay. Those who dared to follow the footprints were led through twisted paths, only to find themselves back where they started, as if the creature had moved in circles, toying with its pursuers. Sightings of strange, shadowy figures spread rapidly. A farmer reported hearing faint, mocking laughter as he walked alone through the woods one night, his eyes catching a fleeting glimpse of a dark form in the trees. Another villager swore that she saw a pair of glowing red eyes watching from her window, disappearing only when she crossed herself and muttered a prayer. Tales like these fueled the belief that the devil's footprints were not just a physical presence, but a sign of something deeply sinister lurking just beyond sight. lasted for a single, harrowing night, the footprints stretching for miles before they abruptly vanished as mysteriously as they had appeared. In the days that followed, the snow melted and the tracks faded into legend, yet the fear remained. People spoke of it in hushed tones, glancing over their shoulders, as if expecting the devil to return, his footprints renewed in fresh snow. To this day, no one has explained the devil's footprints. Were they a prank, a trick of nature, or something far darker, a message from the underworld itself? The villagers of Devon may never know, but one thing is certain. On cold, moonlit nights, when the winter's silence deepens, let's dive into the eerie tale of Carmen Winstead, a chilling urban legend that's been passed down through whispers. Relax, get comfortable, and let this haunting story lull you to sleep. Carmen Winstead was a 17-year-old high school student, an ordinary girl by most accounts. But her life took a horrifying turn one fateful day. It all started when her family moved to a new town. Carmen found herself struggling to fit in, especially with a group of girls who often bullied her. They teased her relentlessly, picking on her for things as trivial as her clothes and her quiet demeanour. One afternoon, during a fire drill at school, the bullying escalated to a deadly level. Carmen and the other students were lined up outside, next to an open manhole that led deep into the town's sewer system. As the drill went on, Carmen's tormentors decided to pull a cruel prank. They started pushing and shoving her closer to the edge, laughing as Carmen tried to maintain her balance. But things quickly spiraled out of control. With one final shove, Carmen lost her footing and plummeted into the open manhole. The fall was long and deadly, and when she hit the bottom, her neck snapped, killing her instantly. The bullies, realising the horror of what they had done, panicked. Instead of confessing, they decided to lie. They told the teachers and authorities that Carmen had simply fallen in by accident. The school and police accepted their story, and Carmen's death was ruled a tragic accident. But Carmen's story didn't end there. Soon after her funeral, the girls who had been responsible for her death started receiving strange emails and messages. The emails claimed to be from Carmen herself, warning them that they would soon face justice for what they had done. At first, the girls dismissed the messages as a sick joke, but as time passed, one by one, they started to disappear. Each girl met a mysterious end, found dead in the same way Carmen had died, pushed into a sewer, their necks broken. Their deaths were unexplained, and rumours spread through the school. Then the emails began circulating more widely, warning others, pass this message on, or Carmen will come for you. The urban legend of Carmen Winstead, sometimes referred to as Jessica Smith, became infamous. People believed that failing to forward the message would bring Carmen's vengeful spirit to their doorstep, claiming them just as she did her tormentors. In the chilling depths of Staten Island's folklore, a sinister figure known as Cropsey stalks the nightmares of those who dare to whisper his name. Originally conceived as a boogeyman to scare children into obedience, Cropsey evolved into a far more horrifying reality, merging with the true crimes of a man named Andre Rand, whose deeds during the 1970s and 1980s turned him into a living embodiment of the legend. The tale of Cropsey began as a ghost story, one that parents recounted during hushed evenings, a spectral figure lurking in the shadows of the woods, preying on wayward children who strayed too far from home. Descriptions varied, but all agreed on his ghastly demeanour, a disfigured face, haunting eyes, and a hook for a hand, dragging behind him the echoes of chains he rattled, a warning in the wind. As the Cropsey's malevolence. He was said to reside in the ruins of the abandoned Willowbrook State School, a place already steeped in dark history due to its controversial past, as a residence for children with disabilities subjected to horrendous conditions. Here, Cropsey found his sinister refuge, emerging under the cloak of night to chase the echoes of laughter with a hunter's glee. But the line between myth and reality blurred horrifically when children in Staten Island began to disappear in the 1970s and 80s. Panic gripped the community as the legend of Cropsey seemed to come alive. And then came Andre Rand, a former employee of the Willowbrook State School. When he was arrested in connection with the disappearances, the people of Staten Island were aghast to find that their boogeyman had taken human form. Rand was convicted of kidnapping, and the community was forced to confront the terrifying possibility that Cropsey was not just a tale to frighten children, but a real predator walking among them. Each trial brought more attention to the legend, each disappearance a grim chapter added to the lore. Today, the story of Cropsey remains a macabre token of Staten Island's history. The dilapidated structures of Willowbrook still stand, overgrown and forsaken, yet pulsing with the dark heartbeat of past atrocities. Those who venture near claim to feel a chilling presence, hear the faint rattle of chains, or see a shadow dart between the trees. Cropsey has transcended his origins as a mere boogeyman to become a symbol of real-life horrors, a cautionary tale that warns of the monsters that may dwell not just in our stories, but in the very heart of our communities. In the eerie silence of Bucksport Cemetery, Maine, stands a towering obelisk, a seemingly ordinary monument, yet one that bears a sinister mark. This is the memorial of Jonathan Buck, a man remembered not just for his life, but for the curse that darkens his legacy. Etched onto the stone like an ominous scar is the unmistakable shape of a woman's stocking-clad foot, or perhaps a boot, a symbol both strange and chilling. Legend whispers that Buck, a man of influence in his time, condemned a woman to death for witchcraft. Her screams filled the air as the flames rose, but before she was silenced, she cursed him with her dying breath. "I shall haunt you," she vowed, "and mark your grave as a sign of your cruelty." Townsfolk say Buck scoffed, dismissing her words as the ravings of a vengeful spirit. But as the years passed, the curse began to take form. After Buck's death, an obelisk was raised in his honour. Soon, whispers emerged that a strange mark had appeared, a single, ghostly footprint of a woman's stockinged foot, etched deeply and inexplicably into the stone. No tools could erase it. Attempts to scrub it away only seemed to deepen the impression, as if the spirit herself were renewing her claim. Visitors to the cemetery tell of an unsettling presence around Buck's grave. Some report feeling a chill creeping over them, or catching sight of a shadowy figure in the corner of their eye, an outline of a woman standing near the cursed obelisk, her gaze fixed coldly upon it. Local law insists that this ghostly figure is the woman Buck condemned, bound forever to the stone, her foot branded there as a mark of vengeance. Over the years, strange misfortunes have befallen those who mock the legend or touch the footprint in jest. A man who dared to trace the outline of the foot with his hand fell ill the next day, his fevered dreams haunted by the spectre of a woman's boot pressing down on his chest, as if crushing the breath from him. Others have reported feeling an inexplicable weight upon them, a pressure that lingers long after they've left the cemetery. The curse of Jonathan Buck's memorial endures, a ghostly reminder of a promise made in fire and fury, And so, the warning stands. Those who approach this cursed obelisk may find themselves marked by forces that lie beyond, trapped forever in the shadow of a vengeful spirit's wrath.